Hey YouTube, this is Douceboyz. Here's my new gecko, the rough knobtail gecko from Australia, N.amyae. And these guys are pretty cool. This one right here is a 4-month-old juvie. I'm still trying to get the exact hatch date from the breeder. So you can see these guys, pretty awesome looking geckos. They come across the reptile trade pretty rarely, and when they do, they are on the expensive side when it comes to geckos. But luckily I got a deal from a great breeder out in California that I found on Fauna Classifieds. If you'd like to know more about that, just comment on my page. And there's this little knobtail where they get their name. And this thing will rattle around in the sand. Little is known about it, but I noticed that it rattles when I'm in the room, and he may not see me, but he knows that I'm there, as sort of like a defense mechanism, and also right before eating, he'll rattle it as well. So his tank setup is pretty simple. These guys require sand as a substrate. They cannot be housed on paper towel like leopard geckos can. I did as much research as I could on these guys before I purchased them. I have several layers to my substrate. I have like a 1/2 inch worth of clay from the excavator clay substrate that I formed these burrows with. There's 2 on each side. I then have a layer of soil under the plant areas only. So like right there you can see a layer of soil here. And there is on this side too, even though it's covered by the sand, and in the back area. Just for the plants, and they're organic soil, so there's no pesticides. On top of that layer I have about another 1/2 inch of rougher play sand that kind of keeps the shape of the terrarium or the vivarium, and above that is a fine powdery red sand. And these guys live on red sand in the natural environment, hence their orangish color. For hides I have a burrow on the hot side, a burrow on the cool side, and a log cave in the middle that also gets warm. And is surrounded by a couple of rocks that are buried in the sand that also get warm from the basking lamp I had. These guys don't need a basking lamp, but whereas I live in New England and it gets pretty chilly around this time of year, I have an additional heat source on top of my UTH. In the wild, these guys do not burrow, but they do occupy burrows of other animals in the area. So that's why I had to pre-make the burrows. If you are to get a Australian gecko like the levis, they actually burrow themselves, so you can pretty much put substrate down and they'll make their own enclosure for themselves. These are live plants I have in here. This is a jade plant. I have 3 small jade plants, and then I have a series of baby palm plants. And I think it kind of gives a good look. These plants are non-toxic as well, and I never see the gecko go for any plant material. They are 100% carnivorous, and they eat crickets and mealworms and dubia roaches in captivity, but in the wild they eat everything from spiders and grasshoppers to scorpions and other small lizards, so they're pretty fun gecko. Pretty intense. And they're really fun to watch. Especially at night when he's out roaming. He's territorial, just stop at random points and rattle his tail. So even though these guys might be on the pricey side, if you're really into reptiles, especially geckos, then the price is really worth it, because seeing and owning one of these guys in person is a really cool experience. I'm hoping this is an unsexed juvie. There's actually a long story behind it. I had purchased a 6-month-old male that arrived DOA when he was shipped, and so the breeder was kind enough to send me one of his unsexed juvies free of charge. So if this does turn out to be a female, then I got an incredible deal. And if it turns out to be a male, it's still a good deal. And I hope to breed these guys in the future. This is probably the only reptile that I will breed, because I think that they are worth it. Well, I think a lot of geckos are worth it, but for me, in my situation, I think these guys are definitely worth breeding, and I value them so much that I think it would be good to breed them. Yeah. So if you guys have any questions or anything like that, just leave them in the comments section and I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. If you have any video requests, let me know. Alright.